All right, that is Rams Cardinals. We'll move on. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Falcons 0-2, 0-1 on the road. Seattle Seahawks 1-1, 1-0 at home. We're at State Farm Stadium. Oh, we're not at State Farm Stadium. My bad. I don't know why I have that.
Lumen Field
Yeah, I
in
know.
beautiful Pacific Northwest.
I'm from the Northwest. I should be able to. I know. My bad. Sorry. But the weather is nice. It's nice in Seattle. Still 69 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 8 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. Seahawks, Falcons. We have the Seahawks opening up at -2.5. That's dropped to -1. From a total standpoint, it opened up at 42.5 and has dropped to 41.5. Oh, I'm hoping that there's sharp money on Atlanta, or sorry, that sharp money on Seattle. That's not the case. It's all over Atlanta. 54% of the tickets, 90% of the cash. That's why it's moved from 2.5 to 1. It's too bad. I kind of like a buy low spot on Seattle this week, but again, I just won't fight that fight. 70% of the tickets, 77% of cash on the under. Maybe that's where I can move to. The Falcons almost pulled off an enormous comeback in their 31-27 loss to the Rams, down 28-3 in the third. Mariota 17-26, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. 8th overall pick, Drake London at 8 catches for 86 yards and a touchdown. Kadero Hodge, 2 catches for 57 yards. They struggled putting any kind of pressure on Stafford. 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. Stafford completed his first 12 passes on them. But that's Stafford. Michael Walker, Casey Hayward had interceptions. Troy Anderson blocked the punt that Lorenzo Carter returned for a touchdown. 2-point conversion from Mariota to London. Wow. And that's also the first time since 1990 that the Falcons have blocked a punt in a regular season game, returned it for a TD. They did it also in the 2003 playoffs. Seahawks came crashing back to earth with their ugly 27-7 loss to San Francisco. I had the under. I should have had the 49ers too. I had him in the contest, in the Cappers contest, but who cares if you have him in the Cappers contest? I went 5-0 in the Cappers contest, but I should have bet them. It was exactly, the game worked out exactly the way I thought it would, except, of course, Trey Lance, being hurt out for the year with the ankle injury. Geno Smith, 24-30, 197 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Tyler Lockett, 9 catches for 107 yards. DK Metcalf, 4 for 35. They could do nothing on the ground. They're so screwed if they can't move the ball on the ground. 36 yards on 14 carries. They got on the board just because of their special teams. I mean, Tariq Woolen blocked a 20-yard field goal attempt by Robbie Gould. Michael Jackson, not the molester, picked up the ball and ran it 86 yards. Their defense, 1 sack and 4 quarterback hits. They lost defensive lineman Shelby Harris, first half injury to his glute. Guard Damian Lewis thigh also got hurt and didn't return. The Seattle Seahawks offense, 234.5 yards per game. That's 31st in the NFL. Brady says Seahawks have not scored an offensive point in the game and have not one single offensive point in the game and a half. Take it away for us, Andy. Falcons, Seahawks.
I looked at this right away on Sunday. I said, if I find out the Falcons traveled back to Atlanta, I'm going to pass. If I find out they stay on the West Coast, I'm going to bet them straight the fuck up. And we did some, honestly, it was just some media contacts immediately answered the questions that they were flying up Seattle. Somebody actually did the research on the flights, did like the tail number flight stuff and found out they were flying up that way. But yeah, Atlanta stayed out west. Smart move. 2 straight games out on the West Coast. This usually works out. And they are not a good team. In fact, they're a bad team. One of the worst teams in the league, but they're better than Seattle, even on a neutral. I have Seattle very, very low because I can't get an offense much lower in my rankings than what we have with Seattle. They introduced another running back, and it made things worse. They have 2 really good wide receivers, and it's just completely going to go to waste with the kind of offense they want to run out there and the personnel they have. So Atlanta's defense isn't that good. In fact, it's not great. It's not good at all, but I have Atlanta. It should be a small favorite here. When you bet this early, there's no money lines up. I wanted to bet a money line, but it was not offered. One book offered alternate spread, so it's funny. I bet a soccer number here, Jimmy. I bet because they wouldn't let me sell all the way to 0, but I could bet to plus 0.5. So I'm protected against the tie on my bet. If this ends in a tie, I am a winner because I don't have the money line. They wouldn't let me go that far, but essentially, yes, I'm on Falcons money line here. I have this should be a flip favorite. Falcons should be favored about 2.5 on the road, which is gross to say. I've seen some nice things from the offense. If they can keep getting Drake London the ball, and I think that's probably your rookie of the year, despite not getting the fanfare of Wilson up in the Jets. It's just from a pure standpoint of opportunities. If Drake London stays healthy, he's going to get 10 targets a game for the rest of his life here. And suddenly he's going to have 100 catches, and it's hard to argue with the counting stats if he keeps going. He's been good. If they get a little more out of the tight end and some of the other skill position players, maybe the running back by committee they've put together isn't too bad with Algier and Patterson and even their their quarterback. This offense isn't horrid if they're playing a bad defense. Obviously, the Rams only gave up 3 points in the first half to them because the Rams are a very good defense. This is not it. So Falcons, playing the 0-0 on the roulette wheel. And it is funny, I did live bet a Seattle-Arizona game years ago, and I sold down to a pick'em. I said, I'll just take the pick'em on the money line. And I fell asleep. That was the game where they missed 4 field goals in overtime, and I took a push. That was a tie. So I have taken a tie. So that's where we're protecting against it this one. But yeah, Gino's not great, guys. I'll bet against that here, even on the road with the team resting and practicing on the West Coast. I think they're out at the University of Washington.
Do you like the under as well?
Yeah. I think Atlanta could get 35, 40, 41 points, and this game still may stay under. There's a decent chance Seattle doesn't score on offense again. It's a much weaker defense than what we saw in San Francisco, but Seattle getting to 10, 14 points kind of seems like where we're going to end up with this team. It's a better team at home, but it's still a pretty bad team.
I'm going to move on the under. And I might add Seattle in the team total under 21.5. I feel like Gino is a good guy right now because he's not airing the ball out all over the field. Look, game in and game out, he's got this extremely high completion rate. He's keeping things simple. He's not putting his team in danger. And I think that was imperative when he got the number one job was, just let our defense handle things and let the great receivers that you have. I like the under and I like the team total under for Seattle. The question I have, though, is the Falcons defense good enough? I mean, we're banking on the Seattle offense being so bad, but is there any positives in this Falcon defense?
Middle of the pack as far as rush defense, which I think is going to be good enough here. They've struggled against passing, but they've faced much better quarterbacks than.
Why are you not
Gino.
adding either of those bets? Is it because you don't want to be too invested in this game?
What's that? The team total under?
Under
I hate voting. I hate double and triple dipping. I may look at that Seattle team total under though. Seattle and New England team total unders are high on my list. I kind of treat team totals separately, and I'll get to them later in the week if I start adding some of those. But yeah, I agree with you. Seattle team total under is high on my list.
I'm gonna move. I think I'm gonna double there. 41.5 team total under 21.5. I don't think that getting the opportunity to bet it at 21.5. I don't believe will be here come Sunday. I think that will be over below that 21 point threshold.
Yeah.
All right. I love it. Well, we've got action, baby. We've got action. I mean, kind of tentative, but I was tentative last week. I ended up with 9 bets, but only 4 after our Tuesday night show. And I'm just going to keep doing what's working. And here I'm on the side of the Sharps because the Sharps are all over Atlanta, who I'm not moving on, but I get it. 54%, 90% of cash. And they're all over the under. And put that together, and I'm comfortable. Let's move on.